We got to start with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City Thunder are the only team in the NBA right now still undefeated after their big win over the LA Clippers last night, 126 to 107. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander continues to put on an absolute offensive clinic. Last night had 30 points and 12 assists, became the third longest streak of 20 plus point games in a row with 80 80 straight games with 20 or more points. Absolutely insane. You're playing up against a good LA Clippers team that, despite the fact that they're significantly older, they do have really strong defensive personnel with guys like Nicholas Batum, Kawhi Leonard, Chris Dunn, who was probably the primary defender a lot of the time in that game, from what, at least from what I saw. So this is a Oklahoma City Thunder team that is just completely rolling right now. And I was going through the stats because I was trying to figure out what is it that makes them so special this season, where you can make the argument that they're better this season than they were last year, and they're still missing some of their key contributors. Again, Lucas Dort has been questionable coming into a handful of games. Jalen Williams has not played yet. Alex Caruso and Casey Wallace both missed a little bit of time earlier on in the season as well. Like, this is a team that you can make the argument is nowhere near full strength, especially when you're missing your second best player, yet they look dominant in these games. And so I was going through the stats. Okay, fifth in points per game, so top five is a scoring offense, but middle of the pack in terms of field goal percentage, middle of the pack in terms of 3 points, 3 pointers knocked down. Their 3 point percentage is third worst in the NBA at 31.5%. They're one of the best free throw shooting teams in the league, 86% as a squad. Top five in rebounding with 48 per game. Okay, cool. But they're in the bottom 10 in assists. They're in the bottom 10 in, or they're middle of the pack in true shooting, middle of the pack in effective field goal percentage. Like, what are the things that make it where they're just so dang good? And there were three things that came to mind, or three things that stood out the most to me in terms of why they've been so effective. Number one is their ability to force turnovers. Number one is that they're able to force turnovers at a high clip. They are second in steals so far this season with nearly 11 per game. They are causing a lot of havoc in the passing lanes, creating turnovers at a high clip, and being able to score uh, significantly and consistently in transition. This team is not a high paced team. Actually, they're fourth worst in pace of play this season, or I guess you could frame it more as fourth slowest in the NBA this season. They're not killing people in transition, which is kind of funny because OKC has always been predicated off of the fact that they have so much size and athleticism across their roster, but they're not winning that way. They're winning in half court execution. But the other thing that really builds off of the turnovers is the fact that they don't turn the ball over. Second best in taking care of the ball, 11.7 turnovers per game is the second best or second fewest in the NBA so far this season. So they're great at forcing opponents to turn the ball over while taking care of the basketball and maximizing their possessions. So that's number two. Number three, and the thing that I thought was most important, is this team is top five in fourth quarter scoring. I believe they're averaging anywhere between 35 and 36 points per game in the fourth quarter. They are a top five team in that space, and it's probably a lot more so predicated off of what they were able to do in those first two games, those back to back overtime, the games that went to overtime. But this is a team that has learned now, and I think this spawned all the way back from that Dallas Mavericks series, if you guys remember 2 seasons ago. This team is starting to learn, or has officially learned, I think in my personal opinion, they have learned how to close games. This Oklahoma City Thunder team, when you put together their ability to force turnovers and cause havoc on the perimeter, their ability to take care of the basketball and create easy shots and get to the free throw line at a high clip, mainly led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but nonetheless, get to the free throw line and all convert at a high clip. And then on top of that, getting to the fourth quarter and having your strongest performance offensively in the fourth to be able to close these games out. Those three elements are what are making the Oklahoma City Thunder so dangerous. Because if you check any of the other stats, as I mentioned beforehand, there's nothing that the Oklahoma City Thunder do from a statistical standpoint that is considered elite. Yes, they're a top five rebounding team. Yes, they're a top five scoring team. Yes, they're a top five defensive team from a defensive rating standpoint. Excuse me, they're number one in defensive rating right now. That has a lot to do with the switchability and the overall versatility they have on the wings defensively, having guys like Chet Holmgren in the middle as a rim protector, having the fact that you have someone like Jalen Williams as the backup center, Isaiah Hartenstein, despite the fact that he struggled offensively so far this season because that baby hook floater it's not going through the way it was last season, but still, even with him having a little bit of a step back offensively, he is taking almost more pride on the defensive end in his minutes. I think that's been huge. AJ Mitchell, competitive on the defensive end. Lucas Dort, we already know, is a lockdown one-on-one defender in this league and probably one of the only, I would say he's one of only maybe 4 or 5 wings that I would say I trust in today's NBA to put them one on one on your opponent on the opposing team's best player and just go shut that guy down. Like there's only I don't know exactly who that list is bar for bar just yet. I think that's something that will slowly but surely develop over the course of the season. But right now, I feel comfortable saying that the Oklahoma City Thunder have one of maybe 5 guys in Lucas Dort who I would say are capable in this league to put them on the opposing team's best player and say you're gonna go guard that guy for every minute, every second that dude's on the floor. Your Steph Curry's, your Kevin Durant's, your Luka Doncic's, right? That's a big time asset that they have to also pair with the fact that they have a defensive player of the year candidate in Chet Holmgren in the middle. Like there's a 1-2 punch defensively right there that makes them so dangerous. But if there were 3 things that I think have separated the Oklahoma City Thunder so far, it is just the mere fact that they cause absolute havoc on the defensive end. They take care of the ball like a wily veteran team, despite the fact that even after winning last year's championship, you still have to go back and look at the birth certificate of most of the guys on this roster and realize they're so young. And then all of that culminating to the fact that this team, despite their youth, is playing beyond their days as far as being a mature enough basketball team to know how to finish games, and it's put them in a position to have a really special start. 8-0 to kick off the year, only undefeated team left in the NBA, and a team that, I mean, could still rattle off a good 2 or 3 more victories before we actually see them drop again. They play the Trailblazers today as of this recording. They play the Sacramento Kings on Friday, and then they play the Grizzlies on Sunday before playing the Golden State Warriors and the Lakers on back-to-back next week. Like, this is a team that could be realistically 11-0 by the time next week hits. Like, this team could be undefeated going into the first full stretch of them being back home, because this is entirely a road stint, by the way. The Clippers, Blazers, Kings, and Grizzlies, these are all road games, so they have the chance to come back to OKC 11-0, facing off against 2 Western Conference teams that are pretty hot right now. But Oklahoma City Thunder, I feel like they're gonna be a team that I talk about a lot on this podcast, because even though they're the reigning champions, they still feel like they're not discussed enough, which feels weird. You guys can let me know in the comment section down below what you think that has to do with. Is it because they're a small market? Is it because people believe that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not the most marketable as the quote unquote next face of the league? Like, usually when a team wins a championship, they tend to get a lot more media focus. And I don't know if the reason why they're being under discussed is because of the fact that they just still are so dominant that it doesn't leave enough room for people to really break them down or analyze them. Or maybe it's just that they're doing the exact same thing they did last year. They're just doing it without their second best player, which, although that's considered more impressive, also is makes it a bit hard to analyze them from that perspective, because it's like, nope, they're just killing teams the same way they did last year. It's just that they have to do it a different way. So you guys let me know in the comment section down below, what do you believe is the biggest reason why the Thunder feel like one of the most under discussed champions in recent memory? Because it feels like a team that has all the pieces to repeat again in sports books, DraftKings, and otherwise. They are the odds on favorite to run it back, yet on a day to day basis, we don't hear national media pundits and so on and so forth talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they are absolutely rolling it again. Could have double digit victories before they see their first loss. So I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say about that.